All right. This is my fault. I chose the wrong scheduled live stream in the back end of StreamYard. So I need to delete the stream for the 27th that was live for 8 minutes, and I will have to reschedule that. That explains why I wasn't showing as live. So now is this going to okay, now I'm actually live. All right, so well, so we're installing Zorin OS 17.1 tonight. I've already started the VM, so we're going to switch over to that, and we'll get that actually doing its process, and then I'll check out the chat. So my bad, I missed that one. Oh well. So let's present the other screen. And take myself off. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and do install Zorin. It's just a VM, so hey, it's all good. Default is fine. Don't participate in census because this will probably get blown away after the live stream. Continue. Eastern time zone. And we'll continue that and actually get it installing. And now we'll take a look at chat. Hello, David. Welcome. Yes, you were early, and I messed up on that. You know what they say? The road to hell is paved in good intentions, right? Terrell is here. Welcome, sir. And yes, I was in fact talking the whole time. Has anybody seen if TVJ is going to be live tonight? I could not find a link for his live stream. I was sort of hoping to go right till 9 and then redirect everybody over to TVJ's stream, but I couldn't find his stream. And Richard is here. Welcome, sir. He is going to be live. All right. Well, let's see what we can do here. Live. I do not see anything for him yet as far as an upcoming stream. So we'll watch and we'll keep an eye on this and see if later on. I texted him as well, but I had not received a response. So let's see. So we'll if he gets his stream posted and I can grab a link, then I will redirect all you fine people over to his channel, and we'll cut off at 9 so I can watch him. Didn't see it either. Okay, it's not just me. All right, so we're caught up there. Let's see what Zorin is doing. This is going fairly quick. It's the famous Jason from Canada. How's the weather up there in Canada, Jason? Of course, you're the one of those West Coast Canadians and have the good weather, kind of like those California people. Oh, glad to see you here, my friend. Glad to see all of you here. So, I guess I can do this and tell a little story. So, my Mondays are generally my short days. So I got out of work at 2:30 this afternoon. Right, I had these lofty expectations of coming home, going for a nice walk. Yeah, I ended up picking up food on the way home, and then I took a 2-hour nap. So, um, funny thing, before I fell asleep in my recliner this afternoon, my boss sends me a text, and apparently 3 of the public computers decided to start acting flaky after I'd walked out of the building. So, guess what I got to do in the morning? I've got to try to fix a phantom problem that I don't know what it is. So yeah, um, it is what it is. Job security for me, right? Oh, let's see. Rain today. Joe says, Jason, how's that Willie Howe care package? Yes, inquiring minds definitely want to know about that. Let's see. Canuckistan. It's raining up here in northern Michigan. It was relatively nice here in mid central, whatever, Michigan, Lansing area. Wasn't too bad. It was just overcast. We didn't really get any rain. Canada, eh? Don't go running over or any moose on your way to and from work, or do they run over you? I haven't determined that yet. And Joseph has gifted 5 practical IT memberships to you fine people. So welcome to the jungle, as Axl Rose would sing in Guns N' Roses. Welcome back. Welcome back, Gratian. Hopefully I'm not butchering your name too much. Lonzo says, I purchased Zorin. Okay. I'd be interested in hearing what the pro version can offer. I mean, obviously we can look at the at their website. Let's see, Zorin OS, and blah blah blah. Marketing speak. What do we have? So we've got all kinds of gaming stuff. Every Linux distribution seems to be getting a little bit of a hummer for games these days. So Pro. Okay, so what do we have specifically in Pro? You can pick your desktop layout. So you can make it look like a Mac. You can make it look like classic Windows, Windows 11, Chrome OS, GNOME 2, or Ubuntu, which it's based on. So, yeah, standard layouts. These are the ones that are included in the core version, which is what we're installing because it's free. professional grade creative suite. That looks like GIMP to me. Yeah, I've always thought Zorin was nice, but the one thing I have to admit, and maybe this is not the approach to take with this, but once upon a time, I had got pretty excited about Zorin Grid, and because this sounded like a sort of an Active Directory type system that was geared specifically for Linux users. They were going to start with Zorin. They were going to expand it out to other Linux distributions. And as far as I can tell, it's vaporware. It's been more than 5 years. It's probably been more like 7 years. And I was quick on the draw to sign up for their notifications for this, and I've received nothing. So that's the one little thing that has kind of got me about Zorin. But yeah, so let's go ahead and restart our VM. And while that's doing its thing, we'll take the virtual ISO out and hit enter to continue. Okay, so I just got the confirmation as well, Joe, that TVJ is not going live tonight and may be live tomorrow night. So I guess we can go past 9 o'clock if the spirit moves us all. Okay, so Zorin OS. See what we get for a first install. And I'm going to go ahead and take myself off screen just to give us a little more real estate. And we get the tour. That is so common. Open the menu to launch apps. I think we can figure that out. Zorin appearance. Speed may be limited in a virtual machine. Connect your online accounts, which I'll skip for now. Zorin Connect, which is just going to be a rebranded KDE Connect. I can almost bet on it. Useful apps, blah, blah, blah. Enjoy. All right. Well, let's... they do have Control-Alt-T mapped, which is one of the first things I always test out. All remind me later. They did the Mint thing with the password asterisks. That's annoying. Personal preference, I admit, I find it annoying. So far, so good. So we've got the QEMU guest agent installed. We'll reboot it. And we should see our IP address on here. So let's see. If you ever use Deep in Linux, it is a Chinese version of Linux. I don't believe I've tested their specific version. I have tested one of a spin of another Linux distribution, and I'm drawing a blank which one off the top of my head, but it used the Deepin desktop on top of this other Linux distribution. I think it's got a nice looking desktop. I have trust issues with things coming out of China software wise. But yeah. So will this allow me to pop this out now? And apparently my setting doesn't want to stick because I set that last night. So let's try that again. Hey, that's better. And Mark is here. Welcome. So yeah, Jason, I think they've got a nice looking desktop. I'm reluctant to use their distribution for anything. I've been half considering putting Zorin on my ThinkPad just to test drive it for a couple of weeks, maybe until Ubuntu 2404 LTS comes out. But yeah. Zorin, Deepin, Elementary OS have Windows-like desktops. Elementary OS is closer to Mac OS. As far as I remember. I haven't run that in a little while, but you should try enabling Vert GPU for the VM and see if it performs any better. Is there an onboard GPU on the host? There is, let's see. The server itself has some craptastic onboard thingamajob. It's not very good. It's rather slow. But yeah. So let's see. Here's Jay. Welcome. Just got home, decided to delay my live stream until tomorrow night. Very good. Very good. And Ashley has popped in. Welcome. You guys should change your YouTube settings to allow gifted memberships. All right. Do it. All right, everybody. So yeah, Zorin is what you would expect. It looks nice. It operates all right. I've tested previous versions. So what if we do that? What's that going to do to us? Will it update? There we go. So this is more of a semi-stock GNOME layout, I guess you could call it. So I'm curious to see which version of GNOME. I think that's still going to be like 45-ish. Got Zorin OS 17.1 core. Device name. Graphics. Yeah, that's interesting. All right. Well, regardless, this isn't. There's some artifacting. That's something I've had an issue with lately. So maybe we will run with David's suggestion. Try enabling Vert GPU for the VM, see if it performs any better. Sounds like a plan. Let's shut this down and we'll make that change and see where it gets us. Display, Vert IO GPU. Sure. What's the worst that can happen during a live demo? Not Zorin related, but can you talk about the different desktops you can install on Linux and which one you prefer? Sure. So by far, the recent trend, we'll just say the recent trend is for the GNOME desktop to be the most popular, most pushed desktop on Linux. This has been going on for a while, in large part due to Red Hat. You know, the support goes where the money is, right? So I have had over the years a love-hate relationship with GNOME. The first computer I ran Linux on, GNOME was very unstable. It was still pre 1.0 at the time. And so I tended to go more for KDE, as it was known at the time. This was 1999, 2000. So this has been like 24, 25 years ago. So at this point, after the KDE Plasma transition with version 4, it's now at version 6. There was definitely some growing pains. My love of KDE kind of waned, especially with it looking like Windows as much as it does. So I went from Red Hat to Mandrake to Kubuntu, Ubuntu with KDE. I've run Mandriva. I've run, I don't know. Anyways, I had a lot of KDE desktops. PC Linux OS was another one I ran for a while. And they all worked relatively well, but they were all pre 4.0 KDE Plasma. I did come to grow some fondness of Unity when Canonical was pushing that platform or that desktop environment. These days, I really have two desktop environments, and so on Ubuntu, I will generally run GNOME these days because there are a few pieces of software that tend not to function properly on the other derivatives of Ubuntu. So other desktops on top of the Ubuntu base. So if I'm running an Ubuntu, I tend to run GNOME. If I'm running on a system that requires a lighter weight desktop, then my go-to right now is LX Qt. And they are about to hit their 2.0 version. I believe that's coming next month. But LXQt is it's nice looking. It is a little Windows reminiscent, you could say, but it's lightweight, low consumption of resources, and that's just kind of where I gravitate. So there are other desktops that I've dabbled with. What is it? LXDE? Or no, it's XFCE. XFCE is what you find on Ubuntu or Ubuntu, however you want to pronounce it, and Linux Lite and things of that nature. And if I spent a bigger amount of time on this desktop and really started customizing it, I could probably live with this real easily. My biggest hang up on this is the file browser. I am not impressed with it compared to others I've used. So I other than for testing, I tend not to run XFCE. I would probably put one of the dual pane file managers on top of it and could probably, get along very nicely. So that's kind of where I'm at with desktop environments. I've dabbled just a little bit in tiling window managers. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with the Cosmic Desktop from System 76 on Pop OS. But that is not even going to hit an alpha version until towards the end of May. So it's probably going to be fall of this year before they get a stable version out, fully featured stable version out. And it could be in 2025. I don't know. I think a lot of people are asking the same question at this point. When is it going to release, right? So that's kind of my rundown on desktops. When it comes down to brass tacks, for most things, as long as I've got a terminal, I can get things done. It's just, some things will take me a little bit longer because there are certain sequences of commands I have not committed to memory because I no longer use them every day. So, it's one of those things, and maybe I need to just force myself to use a leaner desktop and get those command sequences recommitted to memory, or write some scripts or something along that line. But anyways, that's kind of where I stand on desktops. Since I bounce around to different operating systems, the desktops don't really matter a whole lot to me. There was a time when I'd spend a ton of hours and customize things just the way I wanted, and I'm just getting too damn old for that. And at this point, I'll use it with minor tweaks out of the box. And usually I know where the pain points are with a given desktop, and I've got some sort of workaround in my head. It's just how long it takes me to do those workarounds and, get productive. I vote for Linux Lite Very good. Whatever works for you. I wish Unity Desktop worked out. Yeah. I mean, um, even in the early versions of Unity, let's see. So this would have been 2011, I think. Um, I was visiting a buddy of mine, and he had a friend or colleague or some such thing, some such person, that their Windows install was just completely hosed, and we installed a version of Ubuntu at the time with Unity, got that machine back up and running. Thankfully, all the wireless drivers and everything were there, but you know, spent a couple hours on that and save this poor lady, whatever price Best Buy would have forced on their customers at the time. And Unity Phone as well. Yes. This conversation would make a good standalone video. I will take that under consideration. I actually had been working on how I wanted to talk about different Linux desktops for the longer Linux course. So let's see. I have two 4K monitors, either fractional scaling. My choices are limited with what works good. Yeah, that's fair. I know things are looking to get better with GNOME 46, and I know Cosmic is, whenever that gets released, is going to have fractional scaling. I've purposely avoided 4K monitors on my main computer just because I have to use fractional scaling or I can't see what's going on the monitor. They default to something that is way too small, and my poor eyes can't do it, especially when I'm tired. Get a Mac. You can be like me with 4K 34-inch monitors. Yeah, as long as you get a certain level of Mac. My Mac Mini is limited to 2 monitors. So that's what I get for jumping on the bandwagon of M1 too early. Should have waited. But Mac is not best when it comes to multi-monitor usage. Sorry. Okay, so I guess this is the one that I allegedly missed. I guess you were waiting for people to turn on a setting or something. I swear I showed this one, which is the exact same text. Or maybe you did it twice. I'm not sure. Anyways, thank you for that, Joe. Let's see if we can get caught up. Did not know there was a setting for that. Yeah. It's better than Windows and Linux at that task. You do know that Mac had dual monitors before PCs too, right? Let's see. Hate the fact that I have to click a window to scroll on Mac. Makes scrolling something on the side a pain. Global menu at the top sucks too on a big screen. Yeah, it's personal preference. I could go either way on the global menu. Of course, I come from I jumped to Linux from the Amiga, and the Amiga had the menu at the top as well, but there were some crafty people that came up with an extension, and on the Amiga, for people who never used it, you had to hold down the right mouse button to uh, activate the menu at the top. Otherwise, it was just hidden. So there were some enterprising people that came out with an extension that you hit the right mouse button and the menu would pop up, instead of horizontal, it'd pop up vertically, wherever the mouse pointer was. And it was sort of like Next Step in that regard, which is ironic because Mac OS, the current Mac OS, is the direct successor to Next Step. So kind of funny. But yeah, I guess I'm dating myself with telling these stories. Tried to gift one to Terrell. Went to Saul. You have to load it with software just to make things usable. I think that's true of any OS. I don't tend to use the stuff that comes on the Mac. On Linux, yeah. On Windows, first thing I do is I jump to an administrator PowerShell. I'll run the Chris Titus Windows cleanup script, and then I will install using his script once I've done the cleanup to get rid of all a bunch of Microsoft garbage, like, I don't know, OneDrive, which is the bane of my existence, and enough to keep me from ever using Windows on a regular basis if I don't have to. But then I will get either Chrome or Brave or Firefox or some combination thereof installed on Windows, just to get it to a usable point, because Edge, let's put it this way. My feelings on Edge is that it can suck the sweat off a dead man's balls. And hopefully that's not too much of a racy statement for this group. Good morning, Ken. Welcome. Did it twice. Is it gifting to people who are not watching the stream? Apparently not. Okay. See where there is a big security issue with the Apple M chips. Yep. I saw that. It was inevitable. It would happen sooner or later. But I mean, look at all the problems that AMD and Intel have had in recent years. So, and they've been at the CPU game a lot longer than Apple. Thought it was, whoa, $44 so far. Thank you. Wow. I thought it was people on stream first. Okay, interesting. That being said, I still consider getting a Mac Mini with the Pro CPU, 4 Thunderbolt ports. Yep. So mine was kind of maxed out as far as, at the time I got the I guess it was sort of a mid-tier model as far as, I think it was the upper end CPU, the mid-tier for storage. I added the 10 gigabit Ethernet, and it seems like there was one other little tweak I could make to it. But since my last Mac Mini lasted me nearly 10 years, I was hoping this one would do the same, but I anticipate in another 2 to 3 years that I will be breaking down and buying an M4 or M5 Mac Studio. Unless System 76 does something really awesome with Pop! OS and the Cosmic Desktop, and then I might be persuaded to leave the Mac. I'm just going to use one of my 3 screens for it. I actually like OneDrive. It works well. Yeah, I just don't like that it's forced so hard on people, and that they make it so doggone hard to turn it off and have it stay off. And that alone is a reason for me to never, ever use OneDrive. Spending my evening setting up a Dell R330 server for a friend gave me. Nice. I don't think Jeremy likes gifted memberships. I'm trying to work through the comments, Joe. I'm trying. Edge is so bad, it's a meme. Yes. Thank you, Ezra. And welcome to the party. OneDrive for end users in the enterprise is amazing. Saves our bacon all the time. Yeah, if it fits your environment, go for it. At the library, they had standardized on Google and Google Drive before I ever got there, so I'm not pushing OneDrive, and we are by and large, other than desktop Windows, we are not married to Microsoft services. So I just would like a way to turn it off and keep it off. And the best way I found to do that is with a combination of the Chris Titus script to disable OneDrive, and then I also go in and do on the machines that are not connected to the domain, I do local policies to get rid of it and turn that off. Yeah, we don't use SharePoint for anything. We don't have a budget for SharePoint. OneDrive is great, especially in a work environment. Everyone's docs are always backed up to the cloud with version ingredient. Yeah, like I said, if you're in a environment that is doing Microsoft services, absolutely. We don't have the budget for that. And I'm still I still have etched in my memory the whole Microsoft antitrust thing, and yeah, I don't trust them. Even though they love Linux, I don't trust them. Versioning is great. I really do not like the M1 all-in-one. Looking forward to getting my stuff RMA'd and having my Windows PC back in a few weeks. Nice. With versioning, no idea where autocorrect gets ingredient. So is co-authoring. Probably should have gone Mac Mini. This is the second Mac Mini I've had. I've had very good luck with Mac Minis. If I get another desktop Mac, it will probably be a Mac Studio in probably 2 to 3 years if I can get other finance stuff under control and moving forward. The hope is that some of these people will continue their memberships after the month. Yes, I would hope. We're on the same page, Joe. Thank you. Let's see. Not been bothered by it if I'm not signed in. Not sure what people mean by OneDrive bothering them day to day. Yeah, there are pop-ups whenever I do updates. I get pop-ups to enable OneDrive and all this kind of garbage. It's very annoying. Probably mainly because I rarely use them, but I hate Macs. I'm always having students at the college where I work wanting help with Macs. They don't know how to use, and I don't know either. That's fair. That's fair. Having worked and taught in a college before, I found that Mac users generally needed less help than Windows users. But it might just be the department I was in. Um, OneDrive shut off, MS config, startup disable OneDrive. Yeah, I've had a few machines where I've done that and it keeps coming back after an update. I prefer Google Drive to OneDrive. It's on more platforms. Yeah. And I guess I don't. I'll put it this way. Since I'm a more hardcore command line user, I just don't use the clients that come with these services. If I have an account set up, I'll use rclone and set up a script to copy stuff to/from one of these services, and then I can control the encryption because there are a few of the services out there that don't give encryption options to the free users. Which, I mean, it's 2024. Come on. Very much a Linux guy, but at work, it's a Windows environment. Yep. It was an all Windows environment when I took the job at the library. I've slowly been working a little bit of Linux into the mix, mostly for monitoring and digital signage and a kiosk and just a few things that my coworkers see as appliances, quote unquote. They don't have to manage it. They don't really have to look at it. And it makes my job easier and they don't question. So I just run with it. Edge is based on Chromium, but Microsoft practices is what makes it bad. Yes, that is the understatement of the millennium. Forcing it after a Windows update, migrating your favorites, and setting it as your default so that you won't notice. Scummy. Yep. Which is just Microsoft back at their tried and true practices. Thank you, Joe. You didn't have to do that. I am trying to get all the comments. They're coming in faster than I'm keeping up with them. I'm having this problem of talking too damn much tonight. SharePoint is the devil. Why are you live again? Because I'm gonna hit my goal to get 30 videos out before the end of March. That's why. Yeah, so I was out of work early, so I didn't have to wait until later to do this, and just thought we'd talk about some things. And amazingly, we've got 17 people watching, which is blowing my mind right now. Antitrust was a wicked movie. Yes, sir. I love that movie. Mainly, isn't it Rachel Lee Cook that's in that? No, that was Claire Forlani in this one. Which one had Rachel Lee Cook in it? I don't know. Anyway, 17 watching, new record. Yes, I do believe it is. Um, like the stream, please like the stream. uh, let's see. Terrell says Microsoft good for that, reinstalling or reactivating what you turned off. Yes. For those who don't have memberships, Jeremy is really good at doing member-only content. I've been working on that lately, and there may be something coming up again this week. So you should join. Mr. Bravi, welcome, sir. I think this is the first time I've seen you here. Watching this live on my Zorin 17.1. Right on. So yeah, glad to have you here, sir. Maybe 17 are those who got notification from YouTube about new memberships. That could be. Rachel Lee Cook, yum. Now, Jason, you're a married man. Shame on you. Just kidding. I mean, what do you think your wife does when she's out with the girlfriends? Well, thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. I'm running a little thin at the end of the month, but I'm not near as crazy as I was a year ago at the end of March. I will hit this goal. I'm not that far off, and knowing that I can do a few shorts to make things interesting and get the numbers up makes me less worried about the number. Josie and the Pussycats. She was also in She's All That, I'm pretty sure. She was the very frumpy art girl throughout the first three quarters of the movie. All right, thank you, Terrell. And we've got 18 watching now. Woohoo! I don't know about viral, but I will take it. Just installed Pop! OS on my laptop, but I considered Zorin. May still switch to it at some point. Yeah. My only issue with Pop! OS right now is that it's had a little bit slower updates, which for stability is great, but I guess one of the fun things for me when it's come to Linux over the last 25 plus years now, I guess, I like seeing the development happening, and I like to stay just back far enough that things are stable, but still keep up to date, at least through news sites, on what is changing and the changes that are coming in future versions. I may be married, but I'm not dead. Right on. I feel like I need to watch Antitrust tomorrow. Yeah. I'm thinking Friday might be a movie marathon day. Friday or Saturday. Start with Sneakers, Hackers, Antitrust. There's two or three other ones that I own that would. There's a documentary called "Hackers Are People Too." That's pretty good. For enterprise use, I like Edge and using GPOs to force settings for consistency and lockouts. Yeah. For better or worse, I'm not at the enterprise level at this moment. and I've got there are 4 other staff plus me that run the library. So I have a hard time even justifying keeping Windows Server around, um, and let alone doing a bunch of extra work on GPOs and things of that nature. Um, at this point, it has not been an issue, and uh, they keep me busy enough with other projects like keeping the website going and um, dealing with our baby boomers that come in and are having troubles adjusting to the fact that so much stuff is online these days. Um, and I get it. They didn't grow up with the technology, and it's harder for them to adapt when they've gone pretty much their whole lives in a paper based world. So, I get it. I go through the same types of things with my own father, who's going to be 78 next month. And, it's just, it's one of those things. It's like all the years I've spent doing his tech support has given me more patience to work with older individuals. Um, More so than I would have had 10 or more years ago. Um, and it's funny. I got him one day. I got him one day, and when I was a freshman in high school, I was having issues having algebra make sense in my head. I just figure it was a bad teacher I had, and it was just not clicking in my brain. And try as he might, my father couldn't find a way to make it click for me, right? So, um, after a bunch of years passed, and I started having to do more in-depth tech support for him, and um, I got to thinking about that situation from when I was a freshman in high school, and I asked him one day. I said, "You remember how we struggled, and you were getting so frustrated with me when you were trying to help me with algebra?" Um, and he said yes. And I said, "Well, there are times that I very much feel that frustration with you when trying to explain computer concepts." And I think after we had that little conversation, um, I think he changed his outlook just a little bit on my level of knowledge and the ability to help him, and just how much I've been helping him over the last 35 years with technology stuff. The man has a lot of talents, and yeah, he's slowing down these days, but he's not a stupid man. And it's nice to know that he is acknowledging um, my knowledge that exists in areas where his may be lacking. So, let's see. Zen Orchestra updates like every other day. It's crazy. Yeah, that was one of the reasons that I got back on the Proxmox train, because I was having issues keeping up with the updates for Zen Orchestra. I'll admit it was a little much. And I couldn't justify paying their for the pro version. And caught up with you again, Joe. See if we can get another super chat. Anyone want to join? Woohoo! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good night, Jay. I'm 58 and algebra still confuses the crap out of me. I told a math teacher at work that when you mix math with the alphabet, you're just asking for trouble. Yeah. There have been some memes on I think Facebook. I saw them. Something about I don't care who your ex is or where your ex is, and don't ask me why. You know, I keep getting a yield. Uh, I kept getting yelled at in algebra class in high school. Was supposed to show work, and I can just look at it and see the answer. Yeah, see, my dad was that kind of person that you know he told me that when he was at the community college and taking math classes that he would show up for the final exam or exams in general and still pass the class. And yeah, I kind of hated him for that, but um, at the same time, he does not get the basics of computers and the fact that, 30 plus years later, Control C still does copy, Control V still does paste, Control X still does cut, Control B still does bold, Control I still does italics. And if you're on a Mac, you just swap Control and Command, and it's the same doggone shortcuts. And hell, I'll go one step further. When I was on the Amiga back in the 90s, it was the Amiga key and those shortcuts to get the same thing to happen. It's interesting. The only math class that I took on the first time and got a grade that I was satisfied with, so above barely passing, was trigonometry. Everything else could go to hell as far as I was concerned. I love Proxmox. That's what I just installed on my new server. Right on, Ken. Right on. Just don't update Zen Orchestra every day. Only update when they do an official announcement about a new version. That's fair. The master branch is ever changing. Don't let that get to you. Another proponent of Proxmox, use it in corporate environment as our production hypervisor, didn't like Zen and didn't want to pay for VMware. Probably a good call at not paying for VMware. I always thought that was overpriced, but what Broadcom has done to it is Broadcom's the devil, just like Microsoft. I'll go there. Have paid for a tooth yet? You may be getting close, Joe. You may be getting close. Have an electronics degree, which gave me a minor in math. Yeah, I have an interest in electronics, and maybe we'll have to talk sometime, Terrell, since we're both in Michigan. Maybe we'll have to plan sometime to get together, because I've got some old computer stuff. I'd love to have somebody with some electronics knowledge just do a once over on it before I try to plug it back in. I don't want the magic smoke. Except cut and paste in Mac doesn't translate directly. Yeah. Again, I do a lot of command line stuff, which I know is not normal for a Mac user, but I was sold on the Mac because it's a Unix base underneath, and it's closer to Linux than what Windows is. And so I would rather standardize my environment on Linux and Mac than have anything to do with Windows when I'm not in a work environment. And in effect, my one, I guess it's in the other room now. My one sole lone Windows 10 machine is about to be taken out behind the shed and given the old Yeller treatment. And I will probably throw a Windows 10 VM up and keep one Windows 10 VM and a couple of Windows 11 VMs. And I've long made the argument, and pardon all the puns that are going to happen now. I've long made the argument that the best way to run Windows is in a VM, because it's like an extra layer of protection on Windows, almost like a condom. So yes, I went there. And no, it's not ribbed for her pleasure. Apple doesn't allow you to cut and paste something with your keyboard without doing some gymnastics during paste. Yeah, if you're using Finder by itself, I have used extensions, I've used dual pane file managers, and I use a lot of command line. But yeah, they really should make that easier. And Tony, thank you, sir. I appreciate this very much. Go Team Jeremy. We're doing our thing. We're doing our thing. Another EET in the chat. Right on. That electrical engineering and technology, maybe. Not that acronym doesn't click with me. Used Proxmox for quite a few years. Now I love working with it. Far from an expert, but I can do everything I need to do with it. Yeah. I've been using Proxmox for, on and off for 6 or 7 years now. Maybe. Come on, everyone loves that magic smoke. Terrell, do you watch Adrian's Digital Basement at all? I don't know a lot about electronics, but he's almost got me sold on getting my hands on an oscilloscope so that I can test old computers. And I think there are enough people I can connect with through YouTube that and videos to watch that I might just be able to get to the point where I'm not terribly dangerous. But hey, struggle with math at first, but sought out outside sources to teach myself. Yeah. Fortunately, you're a bit younger than I am, Ezra, and there were more sources available to you when you went through school. But yeah, I've definitely enjoyed some of the Khan Academy stuff. I have gone through a little bit of that on my own, and it makes so much more sense to me than the way my teachers in high school taught it. Even some of the professors and grad students at the university didn't have that connection and ability to make it click in my head. And I suspect I was not the only one that would have that story, but hey, yay, Team Jeremy, woohoo. It took me over 2 hours to figure out what I was doing wrong on my server to pass through my SAS card. Still some advanced concepts I struggle with, but I have a strong enough grasp on most concepts to pass the 60 question Mensa in less than 15 minutes. Nice. So you're a genius. Card carrying, I guess. What is the IQ cutoff? 160. I think I am ASNEM. Oh my. Less than 90. 160. Wow. Mine is above that. I played chess with Magnus, so not too surprised. But having had to go the route of GED due to physical health is pretty awesome. About to go into material engineering. All right. Right on. And C's get degrees. Yeah, that was kind of the story of my life up till the end of my undergraduate degree, and then somehow, maybe because it was all tech classes except one or two, but in my master's program, I got through the thing with a 3.67 GPA. So for the first half, a little over half of the program, I was at a straight 4.0, but yeah, didn't pull that off right until the end. But hey, it's all right. I'm glad I did it, even just to prove to myself that I could do it. And out of my siblings, I'm the only one that has earned a master's degree, so I've got that going for me, if nothing else. You played chess with Magnus Carlsen. All right. So let's jump back into our Zorin for just a minute or two. It's 8:35, so we've been live for an hour and 11 minutes. Yeah, I mean, Zorin's all right. I almost feel like I should just install this on my ThinkPad and daily drive it as much as I use a laptop anymore. But so multiple days a week, I guess. But throw it on the laptop for a few days or a couple of weeks, and you know, see how it does on real hardware. Because I've mostly run Zorin in VMs, and it does well for what it is, and what I want to do with it. But it'd be kind of interesting to see how it holds up on physical hardware for a few weeks. Let's see. Ezra says, yes, when I was playing. Gotta go. Have a good night, Ken. I play 40K. Now it's like 40 chess. Right on. Magnus Carlsen is, I believe, the highest ranked chess player in the world right now. Due to his eidetic memory. I have the same skill. Well, that must be nice. Or maybe it's a curse sometimes. Is that when you can remember every day of your life? There's so many permutations of a chess match that can actually happen in a 64 square grid. I have above 90% recall. Damn. I wish. It's a curse due to my ability to vividly recall each and every operation I have had. Yeah, I can imagine. So what happened 5 years ago today? Oh boy. Wow. Joe, you do realize that we're all connected to the internet, and anybody could look that up. In 2019, I was recovering from my 4th spinal fusion. Yikes. Yeah. All right. I meant in his life. Okay. Yeah, well, I tend to be rather specific about things. Sometimes it's a curse. All right. So, um I'm not ready to give up on the stream yet. So, is there anything anybody wants to specifically see in Zorin OS? I am kind of interested to Zorin appearance. I'm just not sold on that menu system. I'm going to switch back to the default just to make it easier to get around. Theme, let's go dark theme. We'll go purple as our highlight color. Jelly mode, what is that? Wobbly windows. Oh, look at that. Isn't that impressive? Jelly mode. I suppose you could call it Dolly Parton mode, but she might sue for that. Left super key activities window or Zorin menu. I'll leave that at activities menu. Now, let's just do that. Advanced window tiling, it does have taskbar settings. Desktop, icon size, small. So yeah, the big thing, I guess, big thing that I like to do when I set up a new desktop, Linux desktop, I like to grab some additional fonts, get those set up. If it's a machine that has a either an AMD CPU with the onboard graphics, or if it's got an actual graphics card, then I will typically set up something like Steam or one of the other launchers. And I'm a very casual gamer. I don't. Well, I'm off the bandwagon of gaming every day. Usually a couple times a week, I will fire up Vampire Survivors and do that for an hour or at least 30 minutes to an hour, couple times a week. But yeah. What do we have here? We search for file manager. What are we going to get? Thunar, PC Man FM, Midnight Commander, Dolphin, Worker. That's an old app. Here we go. Double Commander. So I'm still a big proponent, although I've tried to over the years get by with default file managers. I keep coming back, and this goes back to my Amiga days in the 90s. I keep coming back to using a dual pane file manager. I've got one on most of my Linux systems, on my Macs, um, and on Windows. Because these are great. You've got a source side and a destination side, and you've got your hotkeys down at the bottom. You can view files, you can edit files, you can copy and move, and all this fun stuff. On Linux, you don't even have to be in a graphical interface to do this. You can install Midnight Commander. And get the same thing right in the terminal. And it's glorious. It's glorious. Yeah. And just a tip out there, Midnight Commander is available on Mac OS. Typically I install it with Homebrew, but you can download, I believe, a DMG image and install it that way, and have a run at it. Let's see. All right. I have a few spinal defects and other bone density related issues. Yikes. Installing Zorin and VM right now. All right. Good deal. You'll have to report back in the next live stream you're in, and let us know what you think. Gotcha. So you would rather not have those issues or an average intelligence? Oh boy, I don't know. I see one thing I will have to get rid of in Zorin is Snap. Yeah, it's based on Ubuntu, and that's one thing they kept. Interesting. I can't shape my own destiny outside of the choices and actions I perform. I don't often reflect on what could be or what I wish was. Gonna go. Long day today. Catch you on the flip side. Thanks for stopping in, Tony. I appreciate you, my man. I don't envy Stephen Hawking, but I see myself in a similar state in less than 20 years. Hawking was a surprisingly successful ladies' man. Not being able to walk is a death sentence with today's nutritional trends and healthcare standards. Won't be me. Can you walk today? Thankfully, but due to nerve compression of previously failed hardware that was replaced, I lost the ability for 2 years and will not be repeating it. That's fair, and I don't wish that on anybody. Yeah, it's a hard life being stuck in a wheelchair or whatever worse things can happen. So, all right, we're down to only 8 people watching. I'm going to wrap this up at 9. I need to step out of the room for just a moment, but I shall return. So talk amongst yourselves for just a moment. All right, everybody, I'm back like a bad rash. um, all right, so David's still here. Joseph is still here. Counting my blessings, but my 90 only lets me get so high. Intellect is overrated with the proliferation of AI, to be honest. The wisdom to apply it is more valuable. I was mostly kidding. I actually don't know what my IQ is. I have pretty good recall, but not so great at mathematics. So probably just slightly above average. And yes, I agree as well on the AI piece. And in the next 20 years, it's going to have some pretty major impact on all of us that are still working at the time, because there are going to be a lot of jobs that are going to go away with the proliferation of AI. I suspect, much like a lot of auto industry jobs have gone away with when it was getting robots in the 80s and 90s. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So yeah. All right. The next gen will look at AI like we look at Google. Yes, absolutely. Um, and you know, most of us here can still remember a world where the internet was not available to everybody. I remember an age where I had no idea what the internet was. Thankfully, I've spent more than 60% of my life connected, but um, AI makes editing photos in Photoshop a lot easier. Yeah, I was hoping Jeremy could do a course on C# and Visual Studio after you're done on the Linux course. Unfortunately, Ezra, I don't know C#. I've never been really exposed to C#. And I'm afraid if I did a course, it'd be me learning along with everybody else. And I don't know how deep I could really get with it. But I'll throw out there that if there's interest in a C# learning group, I guess I would not be unwilling to set something up and do some private sessions on StreamYard that I probably wouldn't post to YouTube, but where we could all trade ideas and you know, help each other learn C# if that's what we all want to do. I'm just not sure where I'll ever use C#, I guess. Just think 10 years from now, you'll still be at the library and trying to tell them what AI is. I don't see myself at the library in 5 years. Um, I, um, I don't know. I will probably do something different. Uh, Probably be doing something different. Um, the longest I've ever stayed in a given job is 6 years, and I'm going to hit 5 years at the library in September. So, yeah, if I'm going to do any further job hopping, I need to do it soon. Um, and hopefully hop to a job that pays more than what I'm making now. So maybe I can right side my retirement and not have to retire to a cardboard box in 20 years. I remember WorldNet on the old BBSs. Now I don't remember WorldNet. I do remember racking up quite the long distance phone bill because all the BBSs were long distance from us. I got in some trouble for that. And David uses C#. Nice. That'd be lit. I want to assemble my own OS in C# and Visual Studio for the lols. Have you looked at Rust, Ezra? I know the System 76 people are rewriting their desktop system in Rust. And it, from my understanding, and I don't really consider myself a programmer much anymore at this point, but my understanding is there are some characteristics of Rust that make it in some ways better than the older C++, C# based systems. I don't know how true that is, but that's what all the material I've read. Maybe some would call it propaganda, but I think Rust sounds interesting. I make Windows automation tools with C# and PowerShell. Nice. So David, do you know, and maybe you're not familiar with his project, but that Chris Titus Windows cleanup script. What is it? This guy here. Do you know if it's just using straight PowerShell or if it's using C# or anything else with it? I've been a fan of this for quite some time now, and I did actually buy a copy of this when he first made the purchase copy available because I think it's a good project. But yeah, this is pretty cool. So anyways, I have 28 years where I'm working at. I have not. Okay. Chris uses PowerShell for the majority of the things. Nice. PowerShell 98.1%, batch file 1.9. All right. Well, okay. So I guess final thoughts on Zorin OS. I think it's a nice looking Linux desktop. I think one of the things I want to test out on it is they do talk about some of the Windows compatibility, of course, using Wine and other things. Some of them borrowed from things that have come out of Steam OS and other things. But there is the ability to run some Windows software on Zorin OS. And one of the things I'm curious on is whether or not it will run a specific piece of software excuse me, that the library uses for controlling user sessions on um, Windows machines. I don't think it's going to integrate well. Um, and I don't think I've got an extra license to even test that with. So I would have to wait until the summer when we're doing upgrades on the kids' computers. Kids generally meaning the 12 to 18-year-olds, which they will forever be kids. That age group will forever be kids in my mind. But uh yeah, I'm curious to see what it's actually capable of doing in a situation like that. um it's a use case that it probably will not fulfill, but if I spend an hour testing it, it's not going to hurt anything. Let's see. Joe says, I'm guessing that's the GitHub breakdown. Uh, and Joe's also here as Learn Blue Iris. Just here to see if my star is a different color since this account has been a member for a long time. Yeah, I think like 14 months or something, it's pretty orange. uh and I have reminded you that that you've got two accounts. So like I said, I don't want to double dip. Uh Hello, Jordan. You caught us as we're winding down for the night. But welcome to the stream. We've been talking Zorin OS tonight and a few other things. So glad you joined us. Hopefully you'll find some other content on the channel that's of interest. If you've got any questions, I guess I'm going to do a last call right now for any questions. And since you joined right as we were winding down, I'll give it another 5-10 minutes, and then we'll wrap for the night and go from there. Terrell says, where did you find dark mode at? Okay, let me bring this back up on screen. So the what was this? What was that? It's usually under, is that accessibility? No, that's mostly other things. Background is not it. I just happened to come across it. Probably background, applications, displays. Is that not it either? Well, That's a good question, Terrell. I somehow managed to find it once, but I can't put my fingers on it now. It'll probably be somewhere obvious that I'm not looking, but Sometimes I have that problem. Would have thought, is it? It just takes you to display settings. Change background, display settings. Okay. That doesn't help the cause much. Good question, Terrell. I would probably have to scrub back through this video to find out exactly where I put my. Oh, down here in the bottom, the tray down here in the bottom has dark mode. So hopefully that helps. And some of the other desktops, you had to go to the top, and you'll get this same section of icons on the top of the screen. So I did not catch the eclipse last night, and the super full moon eclipse is tonight. Yeah, I didn't bring home the glasses for that. They're sitting on my desk at the library. You're welcome, Terrell. So I may just go ahead and do a backup on my ThinkPad and throw Zorin on it. I think it could be kind of fun to play with for a couple weeks, and then I will probably revert to the new version of Ubuntu when that comes out. And well, let's see. April, what is it, like the 20th or something? 2310. 2304. Okay, so those are end of life. 2404. It just says April 24 right now. Release schedule. Should be April 25th. So 1 month from today should be the final release of Ubuntu 2404. So that's supposed to have super northern lights tonight. Too bad it's raining. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever seen the northern lights from this area. I think there's too much light from capital city stuff going to let me see it very well. The eclipse this time can be viewed with the naked eye. If there's no overcast, the eclipse on the 8th will need the glasses. Okay. Maybe I'll have to go out later tonight and see. Looking at getting a solar filter on my 600 millimeter lens to do the solar eclipse on the 8th. I am in 88%. Nice. Nice. All right. Let's see. I use a DSLR 200 megapixel for deep sky and nebula. Have a few filters. Nice. Always use eye protection with the eclipse. Yep. All right. I think on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. It's almost 10 after 9. Don't be surprised if there are a couple of other surprise live streams this week. I'm considering Friday for a members only live stream. So if I do that, we'll probably do it like we did last week and do it strictly in StreamYard. And I will put the link for that in the community page for members only. And yeah, we'll see what's what. And I'm gonna have some dinner and then get to work on midweek news for Wednesday and see what I can do for other videos for this week, and probably a handful or just more than that number of shorts to get me to or over the number 30 for the month. This has been an interesting month with the dental challenges I've faced and the amount of pain I was in at the beginning of the month or just after the beginning of the month, which put me behind. I am trying to make that up as much as possible. And yeah, I'm determined to hit that number, even if it means putting out some shorts and getting there. So on that note, thank you all for coming in, and all of you who donated memberships and did super chats. Very much appreciated. I'm still determined to since April is going to be I think it's going to make 3 months or 4 months in a row that I've got to pay out from YouTube. I am going to likely take that money and start purchasing parts of the light box. So I may not be able to buy it all at once, but I think I've got a stand that will work at least on a temporary basis, which was part of my frame for the my green screen. But I think I can use that as a temporary solution and wait on the stand and you know, get my hands on the other pieces to get the lighting right, because as good as it worked last night, I think it's a little off tonight. But I don't know. I did put the light over here on my left side. I put it on a box, so that's up a little higher. So hopefully I'm not quite as much in the shadow on my left side. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. And with the last few videos and plugging away on the teaser class, I think that'll keep me pretty busy the rest of the week. So everybody have a good night, and I'll take one final look at the chat. Thanks for the stream and keeping Tuesday evening entertained. It is only Monday. Oops, Galaxy. Yeah, okay. You corrected yourself and got ahead of me. Team Jeremy. Woohoo. Thank you, Terrell, for the donation. Appreciate you. Have a good night. And Mark says the lighting's fine. Still want to tweak it a little bit. I'm not entirely happy with it yet. Adobe Lightroom, mostly, but I've used Stellarium. Adobe Software Suite is just so accessible and easy. All right. On that note, everybody have a good night. I'm going to go find some dinner and get some laundry started and see about getting ready for midweek news that'll release on Wednesday. Have a good night, everybody.